When I say psycho, what scene comes to your mind? I'd assume for most of you it's the shower scene. Likewise, for The Matrix, you'll think of this. For Scarface, it'll be that little friend. And for Jaws, you'll probably say, we're gonna need a bigger boat. In a similar manner, Phantom Thread always brings me to this scene. What I like about Paul Thomas Anderson is that his films, no matter how different, are all romantic at heart. This is a significant achievement because his films on the surface are everything but romantic. His characters are borderline insane, the stories keep taking extreme turns, and issues that seem too big to be settled often end up just not being settled. Regardless, everything at least feels romantic by the end.
I'm finished.
This scene, and frankly this entire film, is no different. Our two protagonists, Reynolds and Alma, are like two sides of a single coin. They complement each other like crocodiles and their birds, but exactly like crocodiles and their birds, they're polar opposites. So not only will the scenes repeatedly uncover something about the two characters as individuals, but they'll also ping-pong between illustrating the lover's identity as a single coin and their differences as two opposing sides. This keeps the tension high as their interaction will feel unstable and random, causing the apparently predictable film to become unpredictable. And this uncommon structure of the relationship of the characters is the secret behind Phantom Thread's romantic atmosphere. The first 11 minutes of the film establishes Reynolds' basic traits as an artist and as a son longing for his mother.
I've been having the strongest memories of Mama lately. The strongest sense that she's near us.
After that, we get a 20-minute sequence of Alma and Reynolds' first few encounters, marking the start of their relationship as lovers. This is where we get a glimpse of their differences and similarities and a two-person tug-of-war that forces a fight for the perfect balance. Reynolds subtly asserts his sensitivity and dominance as Alma proclaims Reynolds' vulnerability and defends her stability. We see Reynolds' defensive aggression towards Alma and sense that he is an unstable man with unresolved issues, hesitant about inviting her into his world. Likewise, we learn that Alma is, consciously or not, already aware of Reynolds' volatility and stands her ground as an independent woman who can't be molded to anyone's likings.
Maybe you have no taste.
Maybe I like my own taste. Perhaps I'm looking for trouble.
Stop!
As we discover these details in each scene, the film commences with its aforementioned tactic, where the dynamics are shifted from one scene to the next in an extreme fashion. One moment, Reynolds is completely beguiled by Alma's presence. The next, he is annoyed merely by her existence. One morning, Reynolds is making a dress for Alma, and the other, he doesn't even want to see her.
May I come in?
I'm working.
When things become too much, Reynolds depends on Alma like a helpless child. But then, out of nowhere, he turns into a grumbling asshole.
Just take it off. I didn't ask for tea.
No, but...
Like a spoiled little baby. But the extreme transitions aren't just a gimmick for dramatic purposes. For instance, it serves to further develop the two protagonists. Reynolds as a difficult artist covertly wishing for a mother figure who can stand his fragility, and Alma as a confident and strong woman who is willing to love but not lose.
Whatever you do it carefully.
Unlike others who only look up to Reynolds and let him have his ways, Alma has her own lines that she will fight to keep if crossed.
But I have to know him in my own way. And this is what I want to do for him.
But more importantly, the transitions accentuate Alma's mother-like attributes that are delicately exhibited throughout the film. Like a mother, she will be protective of Reynolds, even if it may not exactly reflect her values.
Be dressed by the house of Woodcock.
She'll be scolding when he acts immaturely.
Stop playing this game.
She will also be envious when it either feels like Reynolds is being taken away or she's not being respected enough.
I live here.
And of course, at the end of the day, caring when Reynolds needs her by his side. The film's uniquely bizarre flavor reaches its peak when Alma poisons Reynolds to force stop his engine, causing him to finally see Alma as his one and only and propose to her. Whatever the route, happy ending, right? No. Despite the alter's status, the overall structure remains identical, with each shot staying rather consistent, reminiscent of the lovers' first encounter. Reynolds is still found in his own world, while Alma is in the world. The connection is yet a faint one, and their differences prevail over their similarities.
What on earth are you doing?
I rolled a 3.
Yes, but that's the 4, Pip.
Alma and Reynolds quickly revert to their petty arguments and passive-aggressive attitudes, and we're forced at the edge of our seats yet again. At the height of their disjointedness, Alma hears about a New Year's Eve party from a young doctor she met back when Reynolds was ill. Naturally, on the last day of the year, Alma expresses her wish to go dance, to which Reynolds harshly refuses, causing her to burst out the door by herself. And that's when we get our scene. After contemplating for some time, Reynolds decides to go after Alma to the party. He gets there, finds her, and they leave. Okay. So what's so special about this anticlimactic event? Well, there are a few things worth discussing here. First, the dress. Many people think that Reynolds was jealous of the doctor for inviting Alma to the party and went after Alma, chased by the notion of infidelity. But Reynolds isn't an ordinary character. His values and logic are centered around the dresses he creates. So for him, Alma leaving to go dance in the dress he made for her is, in a way, already a sign of unfaithfulness. Recall how angry Reynolds was with Barbara Ross, one of his clients, for being drunk in his dress. So him bursting out the door to run after her isn't exactly solidifying his anger, but rather his dependence on Alma. Then we have the cinematography, which continues to underline Reynolds' isolated and distant nature, but with more intensity. Reynolds is found away from Alma and the crowd in a dimly lit balcony that speaks for his uncommunicativeness and self-containment. The camera stays close to Reynolds and away from the auditorium to eclipse his figure and emphasize the vividness of the crowd. As we observe his black and gray outline, colorful balloons fall from the ceiling to provide stark juxtaposition to his bleak and unsaturated look, openly suggesting his general inability to mingle with others and his brief realization that Alma cannot be and does not deserve to be forced under his shadows. Recognizing this, the camera, which still remembers to keep everyone out when pinned on Reynolds, slightly shakes this time around to convey his anxiousness. Establishing this intense visual segregation is relevant because it informs the audience that this incident is based on sincerity more than distrust. It's an admission of defeat and need. Supplementing this is the sound. The moments leading up to their argument mostly feature gentle sound effects and faint background noises. We are aware of the silence that commands the ambience of the various locations Reynolds and Alma are found in, and its wariness firmly dictates our emotional reactions as well. So when a prominent piece of music suddenly enters the scene, we're naturally moved by its presence and notified of the importance the following scene will have. This score, by the way, represents Reynolds' true state of mind. It not only directly mirrors his love for Alma, but also his own acknowledgement of said love. In other words, this is where Reynolds affirms that he definitely is in love. And that's why this score is named Alma. The score therefore marches on even when a new piece of music, coming directly from the party, invades the scene. The two sounds intertwine and coexist like oil and water, indicating their distinct properties and exposing the characters they each represent. The irritating and disorienting mix of sounds demonstrates that Reynolds does not fit in with the rest, and that the only thread of link he has with this setting is Alma, whom he's desperately looking for. Yet when they finally meet, they only stare at each other, nervously keeping their positions with neither one saying a single word. Seemingly unromantic, they simply leave the party and the scene ends. I've already alluded to the structure of their relationship, but let's try and expand on this even more to better make sense of this absurd closure. If you look back, the film often implies Alma and Reynolds' relationship as an implausible one. Colliding ideologies, overabundance of idiosyncrasies, and hints of Reynolds' failed past relationships are planted in the film's central events, and they are only crystallized when Alma is found in the exact spot of the women that preceded her. Are these past misfortunes an inevitable part of Reynolds' unchanging fastidiousness? Will history indeed repeat itself and push Alma away from Reynolds? Technically, everything is set up to make the audience think their relationship will fail. Their dissimilarities are too decisive to overlook and the gaps too big to fill. Reynolds' lack of gratitude or even remorse in this confrontation is no different. But ironically, it's this exact problem that cements their love as a fated one. The destructive exchanges and self-assertions eventually yield a cathartic climax where their relationship is solidified and ascertained. The facade of an infamous and flawless dressmaker that time and time again stopped Reynolds from expressing his thoughts and desires only breaks apart and discloses its inner layers when faced with Alma's unaffected character.
I want you flat on your back.
The most evident moment of their beautiful collision prior to the New Year's Eve party is the bedroom scene, where the image of Reynolds' past mother overlaps with that of the nurturing Alma. Alma's, frankly, slightly insane and scary dedication is what sparks Reynolds' equally irrational mind into falling in mad love. And as a proof, we see Reynolds proposing to Alma out of nowhere in the very next scene.
Alma, will you marry me?
Phantom Thread tells a story of two unlikely characters that play by their own rules, away from our conventions. If you don't understand that their interplay isn't a regular one, you will most likely miss out on its beauty and artistry. Their words are honest and foretelling. Their nerve-wracking and wince-worthy exchanges are an elegant dance that only brings them closer to their unity. It's the peculiarity of their world that makes this improbable tale magical and romantic. And so the ending isn't an abrupt disturbance. It's an earnest apology and an anticipated confession of acceptance.
If you want to have a staring contest with me, you will lose.
Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this two-part series. If you haven't checked out my first video on Phantom Thread, please check that out as well. I talk about how Paul Thomas Anderson uses cinematography to disclose information about the characters on the screen. And of course, if you want more videos like this, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider becoming my Patreon as you'll get access to even more extra contents. I also have my very special Spikima merch, so go check that out as well. All links will be down in the description below. Otherwise, I'll be back with another video soon, so until then, that's it for me.